We often look at struggle through a narrow lens, imagining it as something to be avoided, something inherently bad. From a young age, we're taught to equate struggle with failure or weakness, as though the presence of difficulty means we're doing something wrong. But this view misses a deeper truth. Struggle isn't an enemy, it's a natural and necessary part of life. Consider the way we view challenges when we encounter resistance. Whether in our work, relationships, or personal growth, we tend to blame ourselves or the circumstances around us. We say things like, "Why is this happening to me?" Or "How can I make this stop?" But the question we should be asking is, what is this trying to teach me? Struggle is not something alien, invading our peaceful lives. It's the process through which we learn, adapt, and evolve. Without it, there would be no growth, no transformation. The very things we often fear or avoid are the things that shape us most profoundly. Struggle isn't a sign of life going wrong, it's a sign of life happening, unfolding as it should. What's misunderstood is not the struggle itself, but our relationship to it. We see it as a disruption rather than a dance, a punishment rather than a practice. In this misunderstanding, we create unnecessary suffering, fighting against what could otherwise guide us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Struggle is not an anomaly in the tapestry of life, it is the thread that binds it all together. Every living thing, from the tiniest seed to the mightiest mountain, encounters resistance as part of its existence. The seed must push through the heavy soil to reach the light, and the mountain is shaped over millennia by the relentless forces of wind and water. Without these struggles, there will be no growth, no form, no evolution. We often imagine life as something that should flow without interruption, as though harmony means the absence of challenge. Yet true harmony arises not from avoiding struggle, but from embracing it as a vital force. Just as tension on a string allows a violin to create music, it is the resistance we face that gives our lives depth and meaning. Without tension, the string is silent. Without struggle, life is stagnant. Every triumph, every innovation, and every act of creation is born from struggle. The painter wrestles with their canvas, the writer grapples with their words, and the athlete pushes their body to its limits. These moments of effort and resistance are not separate from the beauty and achievement that follow. They are the very foundation of it. Even nature, in its quiet wisdom, shows us that struggle is intrinsic to its design. Rivers carve their paths through rock, trees withstand storms to grow taller, and animals adapt to survive in changing environments. Life does not pause or crumble under pressure, it moves through it, transforming and flourishing along the way. To see struggle as integral is to recognize it not as an interruption, but as a necessary rhythm of existence. It is through struggle that we engage with life fully, testing our limits, finding our strength, and discovering the profound interconnectedness of all things. Creation is inseparable from struggle. Every act of bringing something new into existence, whether it's a piece of art, a solution to a problem, or a better version of oneself, requires engagement with resistance. It is not in the absence of struggle, but because of it, that creation unfolds. Think of the artist staring at a blank canvas. The struggle begins the moment they face the intimidating expanse of emptiness, questioning how to transform it into something meaningful. Each stroke of the brush, each decision to add or take away, is a negotiation with uncertainty and doubt. Yet, without this wrestling, the masterpiece would never emerge. Nature itself exemplifies this relationship between struggle and creation. A caterpillar's transformation into a butterfly depends on its struggle within the cocoon. Without the effort to break free, its wings would never strengthen, and it would never fly. The same is true of a pearl, formed only when an oyster endures the irritation of a grain of sand. Beauty and transformation are born from friction and resistance. Even human progress is rooted in struggle. Inventions and innovations arise because of challenges that demand solutions. The discomfort of not knowing how to accomplish something compels us to experiment, to push boundaries, and to imagine possibilities we had not yet considered. Struggle sparks the creativity that drives progress. Creation requires stepping into the unknown, where nothing is certain and mistakes are inevitable. This discomfort is not a sign of failure, but a sign of engagement. It means that something new is being born, a new idea, a new form, a new understanding. Struggle fuels this process, providing the tension needed to move beyond the familiar and into realms of growth and originality. Through struggle, we learn to shape the raw materials of life into something meaningful. It is the very force that propels us to create, transforming challenges into opportunities and resistance into the foundation for something greater. The diamond is one of nature's most powerful symbols, a metaphor for transformation through struggle. At its core, a diamond begins as something ordinary, carbon buried deep within the earth. What elevates it to brilliance is the immense pressure and heat it endures over time. Without these forces, the diamond would remain unremarkable, indistinguishable from countless other substances. This transformation is not accidental. The carbon does not resist the pressure, it submits to it, allowing the forces of nature to refine it. Similarly, in our lives, the challenges we face, the pressures of adversity, the heat of conflict, are not meant to break us but to shape us into something extraordinary. The process may be uncomfortable, even painful, but it is essential. What makes the diamond an enduring metaphor is not just its transformation but its enduring qualities. It becomes one of the hardest substances known to us, capable of cutting through anything, even glass. This resilience mirrors the strength we develop when we embrace struggle rather than flee from it. Each hardship, each trial hardens our resolve, sharpens our clarity, and polishes our character. Diamonds also symbolize beauty born of endurance. Their brilliance lies not in their raw state, but in how they are shaped and polished after enduring the forces of nature. The light they refract is a testament to their journey, a reminder that the struggles we endure have the potential to reveal our inner brilliance. This metaphor extends beyond individuals to life itself. Just as the earth's most precious stones are hidden beneath layers of rock, waiting to be uncovered through effort and time, the treasures within us are often concealed beneath layers of fear, doubt, and resistance. Only by embracing the transformative pressure of life can we uncover our true potential. In this way, the diamond teaches us that struggle is not the enemy, but the very process through which we become refined, resilient, and radiant. It is a reminder that the brilliance we seek is already within us, waiting to emerge when we embrace the shaping forces of life. Resistance is perhaps the most subtle and insidious force we face in life. It's the internal voice that tells us we should be somewhere else, doing something else, or that life should be unfolding in a different way. This voice invites us to fight against the present moment, to reject the very things that are happening around us, believing that peace and happiness can only come if we change what's before us. But in doing so, we trap ourselves in an endless cycle of dissatisfaction and struggle. The problem with resistance is that it perpetuates a false dichotomy between ourselves and life. We start to see the events and challenges around us as external forces, something out there that we need to overcome. This creates the illusion that we are separate from the flow of existence, that we can somehow control it or avoid its difficulties. But in truth, this resistance is like fighting against the current of a river. The more we struggle, the more exhausted we become, and the further we distance ourselves from the possibility of ease and clarity. When we resist, we create tension both mentally and physically. We tense up, tighten our grip on reality, and refuse to let things unfold as they are. This resistance blocks the natural flow of life, preventing us from adapting, learning, or growing. Just as a plant cannot grow if it is constantly being pulled in different directions, so too do we hinder our own growth when we resist the natural rhythm of life. Furthermore, resistance often stems from fear. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of not being enough. We resist situations because we fear they will break us, or because we don't trust our own ability to handle whatever comes. But in reality, it is the act of resisting that causes more suffering than the situation itself. The more we fight, the more we fuel the fire of discomfort, and the less we are able to see the lessons that lie in the heart of the struggle. To resist is to deny the present moment and all that it contains. It's a rejection of reality as it is, and this leads to frustration and disappointment. Life, in its infinite complexity, unfolds according to its own laws, regardless of our preferences or desires. The more we accept the ebb and flow of life, the more we free ourselves from the burden of resistance. The true solution is not to resist life, but to embrace its imperfections, challenges, and all. It is through acceptance, not through fighting, that we find peace. By letting go of resistance, we open ourselves up to transformation, to learning, and to the possibility of finding beauty even in the most difficult circumstances. When we stop resisting the present, we begin to see it for what it truly is, an opportunity to grow, to evolve, and to experience life fully. Nature offers a profound lesson in acceptance. It flows with life's changes, never resisting or wishing things to be different than they are. The river does not struggle against the rocks in its path. Instead, it flows around them, carving new routes as it moves forward. The tree does not mourn the seasons of drought or storm, but it grows steadily, adapting to the conditions it faces. Nature doesn't cling to any one state. It allows itself to change, to bend, to be shaped by the world around it. This quality of acceptance in nature is not a passive resignation, but an active engagement with reality. The eagle does not fight the wind, it soars with it. The rain does not resent the clouds, nor does the mountain cry out against the erosion that slowly wears away its surface. In each of these examples, nature is not a bystander. It is fully engaged with the flow of life, welcoming change, surrendering to the inevitable, and using each moment to evolve. We often fail to recognize that we are part of this natural process. Our own lives mirror this pattern, yet we resist it. We struggle against the storms we face, convinced that life should be smooth, that we should be free of hardship. But the truth is, resistance only causes more friction, more pain. Nature, on the other hand, embraces what comes its way, molding itself to the forces of the universe. In this acceptance, it finds strength and growth. The wisdom of nature lies in its ability to bend without breaking. The willow tree, for example, does not stand rigid in the face of a storm, for its flexibility allows it to survive the fiercest winds. In contrast, the oak tree that resists the wind may snap under pressure. This lesson is crucial for us. The more rigid we become in our resistance to life's inevitable changes, the more we risk breaking under the weight of our own expectations. The willow teaches us that flexibility and openness to what is allows us to endure and even thrive. In nature, there is no judgment, no complaint, no desire for life to be any different than it is. The lion does not wish to be a gazelle, nor does the wolf wish to be a bird. Each being in its natural state is exactly what it needs to be. This acceptance is not the absence of striving or growing, rather, it is the understanding that growth comes from aligning with the forces around us, not fighting against them. The flower doesn't force itself to bloom, it opens when the time is right, in harmony with the warmth of the sun and the richness of the soil. To truly understand the power of acceptance, we need only look at nature. It teaches us that life does not need to be forced, controlled, or dominated. Like the river, we too can flow. Like the tree, we too can grow, bending with the winds, embracing the seasons of our lives. In this way, acceptance becomes not an act of surrender, but one of power, wisdom, and grace. Life does not happen to us, it happens through us, as it does through all the creatures and forces of the natural world. Struggle, when viewed through a different lens, is not the opposite of growth, but its very catalyst. Growth does not occur in the absence of challenge, rather, it is forged through the friction of difficulty and resistance. We often think of growth as a smooth, upward trajectory, but in reality it's a jagged, uneven path. It's not something that happens when life is easy and comfortable, but when we are pushed beyond our limits, when we are tested, stretched, and forced to adapt. Consider the way muscles grow. To become stronger, they must experience tension, a kind of controlled struggle. When you lift weights, you create small tears in the muscle fibers. It is only through the repair of these fibers, a process that occurs after the strain, that the muscle becomes stronger. This is the very essence of growth, enduring a temporary challenge in order to emerge stronger, more capable, and more resilient. Without struggle, there is no growth, no transformation. Similarly, in our emotional and psychological lives, it is the struggles we face that deepen our understanding of ourselves. When things are easy, we are not compelled to question our beliefs, confront our fears, or confront the parts of ourselves that need healing. It's only through difficulty, through the discomfort of facing challenges, that we uncover the layers of who we are. We grow by facing hardship head-on, learning from it, and using the experience to transform our approach to life. Struggle also teaches us the value of patience and persistence. When we encounter resistance, it's natural to want to give up, to quit and look for an easier path. But it's in the struggle that we learn endurance, the ability to keep going despite setbacks, and to trust in the process even when the outcome is uncertain. Each setback, each failure, is simply a stepping stone toward growth, helping us refine our skills, deepen our wisdom, and build the strength necessary to face future challenges. Furthermore, struggle often teaches us humility. When we face difficulties that are beyond our control, we are reminded that we are not invincible, that there are forces greater than ourselves. This humbling experience can open us to new perspectives and ways of thinking, broadening our understanding of the world and our place in it. Growth is not just about becoming stronger or more knowledgeable, it's about expanding our capacity for empathy, compassion, and understanding, qualities that are often cultivated through personal struggles. Growth also involves letting go. As we encounter challenges, we are forced to shed old habits, outdated beliefs, and limiting fears that no longer serve us. Struggle creates the conditions necessary for this shedding, for the shedding of the old self to make space for the new. Just as a snake must shed its skin to grow, we too must release the parts of ourselves that no longer align with our evolving consciousness. In this light, struggle becomes not a burden but a teacher. It's an essential part of the growth process, guiding us toward new levels of understanding, new depths of resilience, and a more expansive view of the world. Every challenge, every difficult moment contains the seed of transformation. It is through struggle that we realize our true potential, and it is through growth that we come to see the struggle not as something to avoid, but as something to embrace. Illumination often comes in the most unexpected forms, and one of the most profound ways it emerges is through struggle. It is easy to assume that clarity, understanding, or insight will come when life is smooth and peaceful, when we are not distracted by external challenges. But in truth, the brightest light often emerges from the deepest darkness, and it is through struggle that we are forced to confront the things we might otherwise overlook. When we face hardship, we are stripped of the comfort and certainty that can cloud our vision. In moments of difficulty, we are often forced to pause, to look inward, and to reevaluate our understanding of ourselves, of others, and of the world. Struggle invites us to question the narratives we've built around our lives, to challenge our assumptions, and to see things from a perspective that we might never have considered if life were easy. It's in this space of questioning that true illumination begins. The light that comes from struggle is not immediate or obvious. Often it's a slow burning, subtle understanding that builds over time. Like a sculptor chipping away at a block of marble, struggle carves away the unnecessary layers of ego, fear, and attachment, revealing something more authentic beneath the surface. It's through this process that we discover the deeper truths about ourselves, the ones that are often hidden behind the veil of comfort and familiarity. Struggle also has a way of teaching us humility. When life is easy, we may feel as though we have all the answers, that we are in control of our circumstances. But when we face resistance, we are reminded that we are not invincible, that we are part of something larger, something beyond our immediate understanding. This humbling experience forces us to confront the limitations of our own knowledge and control, opening us to new insights and perspectives that we might otherwise have ignored. In this sense, struggle illuminates the truth of our interconnectedness with the world around us and the inherent uncertainty of life. Furthermore, struggle provides the contrast that makes the light of understanding shine more brightly. Without darkness, we would not appreciate the light. Without confusion, we would not recognize clarity. The very difficulties we face act as a backdrop against which our moments of insight become more vivid, more meaningful. It is through the contrast of light and shadow that we learn to appreciate the fullness of existence, the beauty and depth that emerges when we allow ourselves to grow through our challenges. The process of illumination through struggle also involves letting go of false beliefs and expectations. We often approach life with preconceived ideas of what we think should happen, how we think things should be. But when those ideas are tested by struggle, we are forced to let go of them, to make space for something more profound. This letting go is not a defeat, but an expansion of our consciousness, an acceptance that there is more to life than we can control or predict. Through struggle, we begin to understand that we do not need to know everything, that it is okay to live with uncertainty, and that true wisdom often comes in embracing the unknown. Ultimately, illumination through struggle is not about overcoming the difficulty itself, but about what the difficulty reveals. It's about the way struggle refines us, opening our eyes to deeper truths about ourselves and the world. The brilliance that emerges through struggle is not external or superficial. It is the kind of light that penetrates to the core, illuminating the parts of us that need to be seen, healed, and embraced. Struggle does not simply bring us closer to our goals or desires, it brings us closer to the truth of who we are, what we are capable of, and how deeply we are connected to the flow of life itself. In the end, struggle is not something to be feared or avoided. It is a natural and necessary part of life. It is through struggle that we are shaped, refined, and transformed, much like a diamond forged under intense pressure. Struggle is not the enemy, but the medium through which growth, creation, and illumination occur. It teaches us resilience, patience, and the ability to embrace the ebb and flow of existence, allowing us to become more connected to ourselves and the world around us. When we cease to resist and learn to flow with the challenges life presents, we open ourselves to the possibility of deeper understanding, greater strength, and a more profound experience of the beauty and complexity of life. Through struggle, we find our true potential and discover that the very forces we thought might break us are the ones that lead us to our brightest, most authentic selves.